Wow. Did you see that animation? My goodness. Just keep leveling up the graphics over here at Knicks Speak. It's only going to get better, so who knows? Maybe I'll add audio next time. Okay, so for this video, I initially intended this to be a really quick 2-minute video about something that I don't think I've ever seen before, and that was the really unique rotations that Tibbs used for this game. But as I went back and watched the highlights, I was just kind of reminded of how exciting a comeback this was and how interesting of a game it was overall. So I'm kind of going to go into a little bit of everything that happens here in this game and why it's the perfect example of why Tibbs had to make changes to the starting lineup. But first off, the initial reason I made this video was to, again, point out something I've never seen before, and that's the rotations that Tibbs used for this game. So if you look closely at the minutes and the plus-minus of the box score, you'll notice something pretty strange. 5 starters and 5 bench players, and between them there's an exact 1-to-1 pairing of playing time. Kemba and Rose, Fournier and Burks, Barrett and Quickly, Julius and Obi, and Mitch and Taj were paired up exactly in their minutes. Every pair has a total of 48 minutes between the two, and every pair has a combined plus-minus of -12, which is the final Knicks deficit. This means that at every moment during the game, there was only one member of each pair on the floor at a given time. Absolutely no Julius and Obi, or Quickly and Barrett, or Burks and Fournier whatsoever. Each player was either in the game or his counterpart was, and they only ever subbed each other out. So me personally, I don't think I've ever seen an NBA rotation like that. Coaches mix and match guys, go small, go big, 4 guards, etc. This is the most strict and most position-based rotations that you'll ever find. So I thought that was pretty cool, pretty unique. But then you look at the, and I thought that was cool in and of itself. But then you look at the numbers a little closer, you'll see this game is a perfect summary of the pre-Kemba benching Knicks of 2021. So between the starter-bench pairings, the bench players overwhelmingly outperformed. Overwhelmingly, they had the better plus-minus numbers. And the three-point shooting especially stands out. Even Obi shot well from 3, and by that I mean he only took 1. But seriously, though, the numbers are glaring. And the highlights are really fun to watch from this game once you get to the good part. It was a regular close game in the first half. And then the third quarter starter minutes absolutely killed us. We went down by 24 at one point before the bench started coming in. And this was already pretty a familiar sight. Even this early in the year was the starters kind of killing us. And it was kind of like Elfrid Payton last year. It was like towards the end of last year, I'm just watching like, all right, well, we got to survive Elfrid's minutes and we're good. Once Rose gets in, we're good. And now this year it's like, all right, got to survive the starting lineup. once the entire bench comes in, we'll be fine. So at this point, late in the third quarter, the bench starts to trickle in, and Rose comes in, and in the words of Clyde, he was percolating. And this, for me, was one of the most memorable games of the season because this comeback was awesome. Quickly, Obi and Rose, once they all got in the game, they gave such a lift to the team, and MSG was absolutely rocking. Watching the comeback, you can see that Rose and Quickly, have that X factor. I don't really know what it is, but they got it. And Quickly loves the moment, especially. And, of course, the comeback fell short, became the Pat Connaughton game, and he hit 7 threes, a bunch of them down the stretch. Yeah, as a side note, I called it the Madison Square Garden effect, where opposing players thrive in the Garden and torch the Knicks with uncharacteristically amazing performances. And I'm working on a trademark for that one, actually. But overall, the Bucks hit so many dagger threes, and then that kind of sealed the game. But then, after I watched the highlights, I felt exactly how I remembered feeling after the actual game on November 10th. It's like you can't even really be mad at the loss. You can't fault the bench for not pulling it out. They went into the game down 24. It was really just that confusion and disappointment in the starters. And to me, this game epitomizes the early season struggles of the Knicks, and it shows why Tibbs had to make a change. Now with Kemba's performance the other night against the Celtics, I think he might work his way back into the lineup. And, but this game was just a perfect picture of how the starters have played so far. The energy difference was a joke between the start and the bench unit, and then, but after going 2-8 since benching Kemba, he might be on his way back. But I'm gonna need to see more McBride. Now I'm kind of rambling, but he had 15, 9, 0 turnovers, and 4 steals against the Rockets. I can't go back to only Rose and Kemba at the 1. Props to Tibbs for being courageous enough to bench Kemba that early in the year. We saw how long it took him to get away from Elfrid. It may not have been the right choice to take him out of the lineup completely, but, a change was definitely needed, and this game is probably the most stark example of why.